Hello everyone. First of all, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening as per your respective time zone. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes to join a few more participants and then we will start. A lot of participants are joining. So we'll just wait for 2 more minutes and then we will start our webinar. We'll start in next 1 minute. Okay, guys, so let's start our discussion. Before we start our discussion, guys, let me just give you an overview of today's webinar. So, guys, in our today's webinar, we will be going to discuss about some of the key best practices that we are following in a data privacy. Okay. So, before I start our discussion, just wanted to give you some overview. Guys, do you know that in India also recently our government have you know, they have come up with the data privacy draft rules, correct? In India also, correct? Now, those data privacy rules, as of now, those rules are in draft. Now, in today's webinar, what we are going to do is we will be going to discuss about some of the data privacy principles that are very common across every country. Like, generally when we talk about data privacy, guys, every country has their own data privacy law. Every country has their own data privacy law. Let me just show you some Excel sheet and so that you get an idea. Like here I have prepared an Excel sheet where you can see country wise what data privacy law they are following. Like you might have heard about the GDPR, correct? You might have heard about PIBDA. So every country has their own data privacy law. And in this webinar, we are going to discuss some of the common practices, some of the common domains and some of the common controls which you will find almost in all the data privacy law, whether it is a GDPR, whether it is a DPDP or any other thing. Okay, so we will be going to discuss about that. Before we start our discussion, let me just give you a quick understanding about the data privacy key terms. What are those key terms used in the data privacy? Okay, so first we'll start with the data controller. Guys, any one of you have any idea like what is a data controller? See, guys, we are going to make this webinar bit interactive. So you are free to participate. You are free to unmute and speak. But when you are speaking, then only unmute. Otherwise, keep yourself on a mute so that other people not get disturbed. Okay. So just quickly tell me, guys, what do you understand from the term data controller? What is a data controller? Any one of you? What is a data controller? Any one of you? Owner of the data. Perfect. Okay, great. What about others? Who is a data controller?
A data controller is someone who understand the purpose of
Mhm.
the data and
Understand the purpose of data. Okay.
yeah, and it decides how data will be processed, why it will be processed.
Perfect. So data controller is basically an entity who defines the purpose and the mean of processing a personal data. So for example, let me just give you a quick example. So here I am opening one website. Now, on this website, suppose if they are asking you some personal data, they are asking maybe, for example, your name, phone number, email, or some other data, for example. So here, the entity who is collecting a data, that entity is known as a data controller. So data controller is the entity who defines the purpose or mean of the data. So that is a data controller. Perfect. Guys, have you also heard about another terminology which is called as a data fiduciaries? Data fiduciaries. Any one of you? What is a data fiduciary? What is the difference between controller and fiduciary? Have you heard about this data fiduciary? Any one of you? Yes or no? Okay, let me explain you guys. See, data fiduciary and data controller both are same only. Okay, both are same only. Here, data fiduciary is the one who defines the purpose. Then you might be thinking, what is the difference between these two? So, difference is what, guys? The difference is about the regulatory requirement. So, if you are reading a GDPR, then you will find this terminology. What? Data controller. But when you are reading for example DPDP Act, in DPDP Act they have defined the entity who define the purpose or defines the controls the data. It is known as a data fiduciary. So this terminology nowadays, whatever new data privacy laws are coming, those those data privacy laws are using this terminology. So data control and data fiduciaries are the same only. Okay. Now, second terminology is the data processor. Now, who is a data processor? This is very simple. Data processor is the one who is processing the data on behalf of the data controller. On behalf of the data controller. For example, guys, here, suppose this is a website on which you are providing a data. Now, suppose if I have taken a services from the AWS or maybe an Azure, who are managing and processing that data on behalf of me. So they are like a processor for me. They are like a processor for me. Then third terminology is a data subject. Now, who is a data subject? Any one of you? Very simple. Who is a data subject?
Whose data is stored or processed?
Collected, correct? For example, if you are providing your data here on the website, then you are a data subject. Then what is this terminology called as a data principal? What is this terminology data principal? Tell me.
Uh, Both are same, means a data owner who is submitting
Perfect.
the data.
Perfect. Both are same.
It's
Both are same. This data subject, this terminology again used in the GDPR. Okay. And if I talk about again our DPDP Act, in that we are using terminology as a data principle. Okay, guys. So this is just a key terms which we are using quite frequently in a data privacy law. So I have just given you a background of the data, those key terminology. Now, guys, we would be starting our discussion a bit more practical. Suppose if your company want to comply with the data privacy law. Okay, let's take an example that suppose your company wants to comply with the data privacy law or data privacy framework. Okay, then what are the step by step process that they have to follow? And we would be discussing each of that step very much in a detail. Okay, so first, guys, suppose if company wants to comply with any data privacy law, any data privacy framework, what is the first step? First step is what? They need to familiarize themselves with the law. For example, if my company wants to adopt NIST privacy framework, NIST privacy framework, have you heard about NIST privacy framework by any chance, guys? So NIST also has their own privacy framework, as you can see here on your screen, guys. This is the NIST privacy framework. Okay, this framework again prescribes the best practices and controls related to data privacy. So this is one framework. Apart from that, like ISACA also has their own data privacy framework, which is known as a ISACA privacy framework. Okay. So ISACA privacy framework, this is also there. And apart from that also, like suppose if company want to follow their own company want to follow the regulations. For example, in India, if you want to comply with the DPDP Act, so first you will identify that what all law, what all principle framework that you want to adopt. You need to familiarize yourself with that framework. Now second step is what? We need to create a comprehensive data inventory. Now, this is very important step, guys. Do you know that how we are creating a data inventory by any chance? And what is the purpose of creating a data inventory? Any one of you?
To
What is
conduct
this?
the
Yeah,
risk assessment.
to conduct a risk assessment. Can you tell me what is your understanding from the term data inventory? What is a data inventory?
So all the data assets uh, are known as data inventory.
Okay, data
Means the
set.
data
That's the
element we stored
variable.
in the database or schema.
So data,
Okay, okay.
so data inventory is basically all the places where data can possibly be strong, so that while doing the privacy impact analysis, we can find out. Uh,
Perfect. That what all data we are collecting, what all data we are processing, or what all data we are storing. So very simple, guys. So for example, before you implement a control, first you need to understand now what is the total population or what is the total universe that is there in our organization. So like by any chance, are you aware about that in the market also certain data discovery tools are available?
yeah, yeah. So they are like Veronis is doing it, Force Point. So like we call it DSPM, posture management
Perfect.
tools.
Perfect. Perfect.
So we
So
have
likewise,
Veronis, we have this like Force Point also, which is giving with this DSPM
yes,
capabilities.
perfect. So generally, what this tools would be doing, this tools would be identifying and it will be helping you to create that inventory. So it is very important steps in order to implement the data privacy controls in the organization. First, they need to identify the complete data inventory. They need to prepare basically the inventory where they will see that what all applications are there, which application is collecting what kind of data. So they'll create an inventory for the entire organization. So this is the next step. Now, after creating an inventory, what company would be doing? Company will start building the privacy notices and consent management framework. Now, this is very interesting, guys. So let me first speak about consent mechanism. Consent mechanism. Okay. So, guys, tell me what is the meaning of consent?
So
Consent means what?
so
Yeah.
basically in many countries like European Union and all, we have this GDPR and all, where you have to, if you are like collecting some data of customer, either
Mm-hmm.
it can be PI or PHI. We have same in US and all as well. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to take the consent of the end user which we are collecting. You need to tell the purpose of that,
Perfect.
for what reason you are collecting and for what long you will be collecting. In some cases, even while you are accessing any website, there is a cookie management
Mm.
system. Even you have to they need to tell that what all cookie even they are storing, right? So
Perfect.
I
Perfect.
think.
Perfect. Perfect answer, Pramod. Let me give you an example and let me explain you this with the help of real life example. What is the meaning of consent? So, for example, guys, I want to download my PAN card. Okay. So, I'm going to this website. When I'm going to this website, they are asking me my PAN number. They are asking me my Aadhaar number. They are asking me DOB. And as you can see here, guys, on the bottom, there are certain four pointers mentioned. Now, what is this four pointers? This four pointers will talk about the consent only. What they'll talk about? They'll talk about the consent, that since we are collecting a PII informations from the data subject or data principal. So before collecting that information, it is very important that we need to take a consent of that person, that boss, I am taking this information from you. This is the purpose for which I am collecting your information. This will be the use of your information. Once you share your information with us, we will be using your information for this purpose. So you have to take that consent mandatorily whenever you are collecting any PII SPI data. Okay, guys, this is mandatory requirement. So at an organization level also, they need to understand from where all they are collecting the data, and whenever they are collecting a data, they need to take the appropriate consent from the user. Now, for managing of the consent also, guys, there are some tools and there are some applications available. By any chance, have you come across any of that tool or any of the application which is helping the organization to, take the consent, implement the consent mechanism, and also helping in them to store the consent? Because this is also very important, guys. When you are taking a consent from a user, you need to store that consent in a databases. So by any chance, have you come across any of that tool, guys? Any of the
Is it
tool?
OneTrust?
OneTrust. Okay, what about others?
Security, there is a new tool which name as security is also giving the functionality.
Security,
No, no,
consent.
ITIE. It's not a consent management tool. It is basically AI
Mm-hmm.
based tool. Yeah, the security.ai.
Security.ai. Okay. Okay. So there is one tool, guys. I am not recollecting the name of that tool. Basically, what that tools are doing, I have seen at couple of clients, what they are doing, they are using some this tools. So for example, I'm not able to recollect that tool's name, but there are tools in the market. What the tools would be doing at an organization level, they'll see what all applications are there, what all applications are collecting, the data, the PII data, and after identifying that, this particular tool, what it will do is it will implement the consent mechanism on all those applications from where you are collecting the data. I'll see like if I have bookmarked that tool name or not. But yeah, there are tools available in the markets. Yeah, this is there, guys. This is, I'm talking about this. So there is this tool called the legality. This tool is specifically designed to manage the consent mechanism of the companies. Like the what this tool would be doing, it will just like when you are hiring this particular vendor, they'll see that in your organization what all applications, what all website, what all third party, and all from whatever method you are collecting the information, on all of that method they would be helping you to place the consent mechanism, and also they will provide you services to store that consent. So as I'm telling you guys, these tools are there. This tool will help you in what? Managing your consent mechanism. Okay, like I've seen, this is one example, legality. Apart from that, also there are a lot of other tools which are helping the company to manage the consent mechanism. Now, if you talk about consent, guys, generally what all details are captured into a consent, let me just quickly show you that how your consent should look like, what all details you need to capture in the consent. So, for example, guys, so if we are talking about a consent, we need to take a consent prior to collecting the data. Okay, whenever we are commencing the data collection, before that, we need to take a consent. Prior using the personal information for the purpose beyond for which it was originally collected. Now, what is this point? For example, guys, suppose on this website, I have given my information. Now I have given this information for a particular purpose. What was the purpose? That I want to download the PAN card number. This was the purpose, correct? Now suppose if I am using this information beyond the purpose, then again I need to take a consent. Like, just wanted to ask you one thing. Sometime have you noticed, guys, suppose you have purchased some product, suppose you have purchased a life insurance from a company, and after purchasing that product, have you seen that you are getting a WhatsApp promotional messages, promotional emails? So don't you think that in this case they are using your data beyond the purpose it was specified? For example, you have provided your data to purchase the insurance, correct, guys? But after providing your data like your mobile number and email, they are sending you the marketing this emails, promotional emails. So does this activity qualifies as, using a data beyond the purpose it was collected? Tell me yes or no. Correct, guys? In this case, can we say that companies are using the information beyond the purpose for which it was originally collected? Tell me yes or no. Yes, correct. So guys,
Yes.
in that case, someone are saying yes, someone is saying no. But let me tell you, it is beyond the purpose only. But here there is one thing, guys. Generally, what happen when companies are providing their privacy notices? So in the privacy notices, they'll also specify, boss, that whatever data that we are collecting, we may use your data for the purpose of marketing, and you are agree to provide your consent on that part. Okay. So just to make this as a legally complied, what they are doing is they are adding this particular clause into their privacy notices that your data, whatever data that we are collecting, we may use that data for the purpose of marketing, and you are agree to provide me consent on the same. So that is why you are getting that awareness emailer. So this is a part of what? This is a part of the privacy notices which they are providing to you again at the time of collection of the data. Okay. Now, apart from that, what all things you need to consider into the consent mechanism? Generally, what happens, guys, again, it will depend on the country to country. But yeah, there are certain countries which will also ask a company to implement a mechanism that privacy as a consent should be converted into the local language as well. It is mandatory that company needed to implement a mechanism so that consent can be converted into the local language. So for example, this is a website. If I want to convert this particular consent into the other language, so you can see that it is converted. So company needed to implement a mechanism again here to convert that consent into the local languages, and also they need to implement a mechanism to convert that or to use that consent for a Divyangjan. For example, if someone not able to read and all, so you can see that there is an option, also an option to play the audio of that particular consent. In some cases, what companies are doing, they are preparing a policy that, boss, suppose the person is specially like the person is Divyangjan, or if he is under the category of disabled people, then that person should be accompanied by another person, and we would also taking a consent of that other person. So likewise, they'll implement a mechanism to take a consent from the user, to take a consent from the user. So consent is clear to everyone, like what is an objective of consent and how the consent mechanisms will be implemented. Is this clear to everyone? A quick confirmation, please. This is
Yes.
clear. Yeah,
Yes.
perfect. Now, next is what, guys? So consent is one thing. Similarly, we also need to implement a control related to the privacy notices. Company need to write a privacy notices. Generally, again, what all details are included into the privacy notices? I'll quickly show you that what all details needs to be included into the privacy notices. So when we talk about the privacy notices, guys, privacy notices will include all this detail, what all personal data we are collecting, why we are collecting, why that personal data are collected, how long we will store our data, correct? In what case we can share your data. So in the privacy notice, company will specifically write that suppose if the data is asked by the regulator, then we may share that data without your approval. Correct. So they'll write that. Then they'll also write about how your personal data can be destroyed. So all the details will be included into the privacy notices. So again, you need to check in the company whether the privacy notice mechanism has been implemented or not. Okay. Now, next step after this, what companies are doing, guys, companies are ensuring that they have implemented appropriate technical and security measures to protect the data. Like, technical and appropriate security measures to protect the data. Now, if I talk about the main important control in the data privacy is what? So here encryptions plays a very important role. So whatever stages are there, for example, if we talk about data at rest, if we talk about data in transit, or if we talk about data in use. So in all of these three stages, company need to ensure that they have implemented appropriate security control to protect the data. Okay. So this is Divyangjan. Okay. Divyangjan is, it is a terminology which we are using for specially disabled, like people who are not able to hear, or not able to see. For that we are using a terminology Divyangjan. Okay. Perfect. Someone have raised the hand. Can you tell me? This is for, I think this will be there in the other countries as well. There would be some provision to inform the Divyangjan people about the consent, correct? That you are providing your consent for this particular purpose. Okay. Yeah, someone have raised the hand. Can you tell me what is your query? What is your query?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was asking about that term DVR.
Divyangjan. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So it's Indian specific. It's not universal, right?
Yeah, it will be there in the GDPR as well. This
Okay.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah. It will be there.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Bye.
perfect.
Sir,
Now,
what are the controls? Hello.
yeah, yeah, please,
Sir,
Vinesh.
what are the controls required for data in use? Because data at rest and data in transit we understood, but
Mhm.
what are the security controls required for data in use?
Yeah, so data in use, the main important control for data in use is what? Masking. Okay, masking of your data. Have you seen sometime in the applications when you are providing your Aadhaar number, the first or initial digit are masked
Yes,
automatically.
yes.
Like
Okay,
you'll not be able to see those digits, correct? Although you are
got
typing
it,
that,
got it.
but we are not able to see, correct? So
Okay,
this
got it,
type
got
of
it.
control we are implementing. And apart from that, guys, what companies need to ensure, company will be making sure that they have implemented appropriate user access control, like who all have an access to the database where you are storing the PII, SPI data. What are their roles? What are their rights? Correct. Then we'll also see whether the user access reviews are being carried out or not. You will also check like how companies are monitoring the logs. So log monitoring again is a very important control. Then from the applications perspective, you will see that what all controls they have implemented on the application security wise. We will see the controls related to the data storage. We'll see the controls related to the data purging, correct? We'll see very important controls related to an API securities. So all these controls you need to verify whenever you are again collecting, processing, and storing a data. Now, for this particular purpose only, the companies are doing one assessment which is called as a DPIA. Again, have you heard about DPIA, guys? It is known as
Yes,
a data
yes, yes.
privacy
Impact analysis
impact analysis or impact assessment.
assessment.
Okay. Data privacy impact assessment or data privacy impact analysis. So as a part of this activity, again, whatever I have explained you, company will check whether those controls are implemented in their application or not. Okay. Then after that, we were discussing that step-by-step process to implement a data privacy framework, technical security controls. Now, after doing this activity, what companies are doing? Companies are appointing maybe an external consultant, or within a team, like they may ask an internal audit team to do the gap assessment. Okay, so they'll do an activity of a gap assessment where they will check that whether the company have implemented an appropriate control as per the data privacy framework, as per the data privacy principle, or as per the data privacy regulation. Yeah, Pramod, please tell me. Please tell me, Pramod.
Sachin, like in this whole thing, like where we create data flow diagrams.
Yeah. So basically, data flow diagrams will be prepared here at itself as a part of security control. You would be creating a data flow diagram which will include your upstream and downstream applications and their connections and the flow of the data, how it is flowing between different application. So this will be again a part of a controls only, the technical
So
and the security controls.
So
Yeah.
do we have any tool? Actually, Sachin, I'm like I've just recently started studying about that. So just want to understand in real life, do we have this any tools which create this flow diagram for us, or because or who the privacy officer will do, or because the application is managed by different like stakeholders, right? So
Perfect.
who is the one who will be helping us with the creation of this DFDs?
So basically what happened, Pramod, application for each the application, we are identifying the owner. Although it can be managed by a different people, but in an organization, there would be a one person or maybe a team who is known as an application owner. So what that application owner will do, it will be maybe do a joint activity with the privacy team, or maybe they can appoint an again a consultant to prepare a DFD, correct, data flow diagram, where basically data flow diagram can be prepared only if you have an understanding and thorough understanding that how the entire application is working from a start, like from where it is collecting a data. So what are the upstream and downstream applications which are integrated with this application? After collecting, how it is processing the data, correct? And how it is storing the data. So this diagram can only be prepared if you have an understanding of that entire application. So to prepare this diagram, we need to involve the application owner and the applications team who are handling and managing this application.
So for it will so DFD will be created for every application which will be collecting any sort of like
Yes,
PI or
data
PHI
PII.
information.
Yes, yes. It has to be collected for all the application. It has to be prepared for all the application where your PII or SPI or PHI informations are being collected, processed, or stored basically. And
So if
generally, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Actually,
yeah, yeah,
I want to
please.
understand. Let's suppose if a company is newly implementing these data privacy controls and all, at that time
Mhm,
when that company don't know that where exactly they have their PIA information. Let's suppose take my company example. Recently,
mhm.
Air India was earlier working as a government entity, right? Recently migrated to this Tata has owned
Perfect.
acquired it, right? Now
Mhm,
they earlier they don't have the like full visibility. The stakeholders are somewhere third party vendors were managing. Now if we are starting this in like from an initial beginning, so while doing the this data discovery thing, we'll able to
mhm.
find it that where exactly our PI information is residing, or there is something else we have to do.
No, no. So as we started our discussion, first we have talked about that control only, correct? To implement the data privacy program or a framework in our in the company, what is the first step that we have discussed? We need to create a data inventory, correct?
Okay,
With the
okay.
help of data discovery. So this is the starting point of implementing a privacy control. We can't implement unless and until we have that idea. So
Okay, so
that will be
firstly
your first
we
step.
have this data governance at place, then at all we'll able to do the whole data privacy
Then
side.
only we are able to implement other controls related to the data privacy.
Thank
Perfect.
you. Thank you, Sachin.
Perfect. Oh. Yeah, guys. So this is the next step where you need to do a what? You need to do a gap assessment activity. When you are doing a gap assessment, again, you need to check it is kind of a readiness audit. You can say where you would be checking all the data privacy related controls are implemented, not implemented, and you will come up with the gaps. Okay. Now, in this entire step, there is one more thing which is very, very important is what data subject right. Okay. Which is again called as a DSR. DSR, we are using this terminology quite frequently in a GDPR. GDPR. So now, as per your country's data privacy law, what will happen? You have to provide certain rights to the data subject. Initially, we have discussed who is a data subject, correct? The person whose PI information is collected and stored. So he is a data subject. So we have provided them certain right, like in GDPR, they have a right to ask for deletion of the data, correct? They have a right to remove their consent, and they have some other rights. So now company also need to implement a mechanism how they would be getting a request from the data principal or data subject, and after receiving the request from a data subject, how they are managing them, how they are providing them the informations whatever they have asked for. So that is also very important. And now the last but not the least is what, guys? Agreement with the data processor. Agreement with the data processor. So for example, suppose if you have engaged the data processor for the purpose of processing a data, as we discussed initially, who is a data processor. So whenever we are doing any kind of an engagement with that data processors, company need to make sure that their agreement is including all the important clauses such as right to audit, such as clause related to NDA, confidentiality, BCPDR, reporting of an incident, data privacy, comply with the data privacy, comply with the internal policies, procedures, SLA, the monitoring of the SLAs. So all the important clauses has to be included into the contract. There has to be a very strong vendor onboarding process, okay, where you are doing a proper due diligence of the vendor at the time of onboarding. So again, you would be checking whether that kind of controls are there in the companies or not. So I have just given you a brief idea about how and what all important terminologies or important clause which are generally there in all the data privacy law. Like these are the common controls in a data privacy law. Apart from this, also there are a lot of other controls that company need to implement when they are going to comply with the data privacy regulations or a framework. Those frameworks, as you can see here, these frameworks are very much in a detail, which will tell the company that what all control mechanism they need to implement related to their PII, SPI data. Okay. So the objective of the webinar was just to give you an overview about the data privacy. So I hope that you are able to understand this from the broader perspective, that what is an objective of the data privacy frameworks and all. Like if we talk about now, guys, CISA. So in CISA also recently they have added this new topic in your domain too. Like previously it was not there in the CISA curriculum, but recently when they have changed the syllabus, they have added this data privacy topic in your syllabus. And as I told you, apart from the common terminology which we have discussed, apart from that also there are a lot of other things which are there in your syllabus. Okay, so for that, obviously, I'll recommend you to go through the CISA syllabus. Okay, so yeah, please, someone have raised the hand. Please tell me.
Yeah, Sachin, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. I see you've mentioned the frameworks like NIST and ISAC as one for data privacy. But then
Perfect.
when you're doing a gap band assessment, you actually do it against, say, for example, a GDPR that you're trying to comply with. So how
Mhm.
does the framework now help you? What does it help you with? If you
So this
if you actually
framework
just
will include the controls requirement, the requirements which company needed to implement. So for example, if we talk about consent, so in a framework it would be written that consent should include this. When we talk about privacy notices, so this framework will tell you privacy notice should include this. So when we are talking about a framework, what will happen, they'll guide the company that what all controls they need to implement. So this framework will be like a guidance for a company to implement those controls, and why implementing, what are the measures that they have to take.
okay, so
Okay.
which means this frameworks actually basically consider all the different privacy laws that are there.
Privacy
I know
laws,
GDP.
privacy
Yeah, yeah.
regulations which are there.
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
framework will include all of those controls only. Like apart
Okay.
from this, there is an ISO 27701, if you have heard about PIMS, correct?
Yeah.
Privacy Information Management System. Again, that is what that is again will provide you a guidance to implement the best practices and controls related to the data privacy. Okay.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
apart from this, also like AICPA also has their own privacy framework. So yeah, there are a lot of other frameworks which are there in the market. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
with
have a query.
yeah,
Yeah,
please,
so,
please tell me.
for example, if we are using a uh, vendor for providing the HRMS services,
Perfect.
uh, in that case, since our employees' data is stored on a application that is controlled by a third party, so uh,
Perfect.
how will data privacy come into this particular scenario?
Perfect. So in this case, what will happen? This is a data processor for you. Okay. You might have heard about this Darwin box, very famous vendor providing the HRMS solutions,
Yeah.
correct? Correct.
Yes.
So now in this case, you are a company, you are a data controller or a fiduciary. He is a data processor. So being before appointing this company as a data processor, you would be checking that what all controls they have implemented to secure your data, what all controls they have implemented to comply with the privacy law, whether their application is secure or not. So this all things you will check as a part of onboarding formality of this data processor. Then after onboarding also on a regular basis, we would be asking a company to demonstrate the compliance. So we may ask them a SOC report. We may appoint our auditor to go there and check the controls are implemented or not. Okay, so this is what we need to do in this particular case.
So actually, when we onboarded the vendor, the DP Act was not in
Was
place.
not there.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, since it is there, so we would be doing a kind of an assessment for the for the vendor, and we may ask a vendor to provide a report which can give us a assurance that the vendor is complying with the data privacy regulation. So either you can appoint someone to do an audit or do one review, or maybe you can ask a vendor to provide some report which can demonstrate the compliance with the privacy law. Like till now, also the law is not yet applicable in India, correct? Till now, till today's date as well.
Yeah.
As of now, the rules are only in the draft, correct? Those are not yet applicable. But once it become an applicable, then they have to ensure the compliance.
Got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Everyone, this is clear. Are you able to share the copies of this framework? Perfect. You just connect me on a LinkedIn or somewhere and provide me your email ID. I'll share you the copies. Okay. Perfect, guys. So that is all for our today's webinar. And apart from this, just wanted to do one announcement related to our upcoming CISA batch. So we are starting our CISA batch, which is 40 hours of a training where we would be covering all the 5 domains. And as we discussed today, like we had discussed about a data privacy, guys, in the CISA training program also we would be discussing all the topics with the help of real life example. Sometimes what is happening, guys, people are chasing this certifications for the purpose of, maybe a promotion, or maybe for the purpose of taking that certification. But what I think is that whenever you are doing a certification, you also need to obtain the practical skills. Right? That is also very important. Only having a theoretical knowledge is not sufficient nowadays. Whenever you are doing all those certifications and all, try to obtain the practical knowledge. Try to understand how those concepts can be implemented in a real life. So our CISA training program, focuses on that aspect as well. Apart from helping you with clearing the exam, obviously that is our prime objective. Apart from that, yeah, we also focuses on the practical aspect. We try to explain you with the help of real life example. Like we are also providing you the customized PPT. So for the CISA examination, again, you have your review manual and a Q&A manual. So we, over and above that, we are providing you the PPTs, the notes, which will summarize all the topics and which will help you to understand it better. And over and above that, we would be providing you the mock test papers, Q&As for the practice. Okay. So these are the details of our batch. We are starting this from the 16th March. If you are interested, then guys, maybe you can reach out on this number. You can reach out to me. You can send an email, connect me on any social media. Okay. So this is just a small announcement for everyone. Okay. Again, if you have any query, any doubt, please let me know.
Sachin, anything about the GRC training classes you guys take? Any update uh, on those
Yes,
classes?
yes, Pramod. So we have also launched a new batch for the GRC. Our March batch is already full, so we are not taking the registrations in the March batch. But yeah, we have launched another batch which is going to be started in the April month. So, guys, this is one more training where we are providing you a complete hands-on experience with the help of real life example, real life data, dummy data, the practical hands-on experience on an IT and GRC. So, this we are starting from the 27th of April 2025. Okay. So, you can again find out the details of batch on this particular website. I can help you with the link in a chat. Okay. So perfect, guys. That is all from my side. Now, just a final thing before we wind up our today's session, guys. If you want a CP certificate, guys, then do fill out this feedback form. Once you fill the feedback form, team will also help you to get the CP certificate for the 1 hour this webinar which you have attended. So it will just take maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So just complete a feedback form. Again, your feedback is very important for us.
So
So
how
do
many
complete the
CPs for
1 hour
this?
of CP credit you will get for this
Okay,
webinar.
so it we can use in both CSSP and CSM, right?
Yes, everywhere you can use that CP.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay,
So perfect, guys. That is all from my side. See you in some other webinar or other some training program. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have no other query, we can wind up the session.
thank you.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you
hi
so much,
Sachin.
guys.
Good evening.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, please, please. Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone was asking.
yeah. I have one doubt. Actually, I'm working in compliance. Suppose
Mm-hmm.
like AML transaction monitoring or KYC sanction
Okay.
screening.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to switch my career into this IT audit or GRC.
Okay.
Is it? Can I get it? Can I crack this interview? Is there a
Yes, yes, Sampath, definitely you can consider about our GRC training where we are providing the practical knowledge which can help you to crack the interview. There are a lot of users or students who have taken our classes and they are able to crack the interview even for the big fours and some other MNCs, because the objective of that training to provide you an hands-on real life experience. So when you take that course, you will be able to speak in the interview. And I'll not say that this is the only solution, doing a classes is the only solution. Apart from that, suppose if you get a chance to work on some project where you can acquire that hands-on experience, then I'll also advise you to do those projects in your company. Also, suppose if you get an opportunity to do the switch, then also that is also a good way to gain the hands-on experience on the GRC this domain. So these are the ways, and one through all these ways, maybe you can gain the practical exposure, and once you have that, obviously it will help you to crack the interview also. So
what is the difference actually GRC and IT audit? Actually,
So GRC is a broader terminology when we say governance, risk, and compliance. This is a broader terminology, and IT is what where you are checking the technological control to ensure the CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Okay, so when you'll go through that website link here, there also you will understand basically what is the difference. There in IT there are some domains, in GRC there are some domains, but in a nut and shell, I can say that GRC is a wider terminology, correct? Or information technology audit is what where your objective is to check the technological control to ensure the CIA. So for that purpose, we are doing an IT audit. So in that training, we would be providing you a knowledge on the technical control and also on the GRC part.
okay,
Okay.
thank you. You are going to take a training on the IT audit, right?
Yeah, that IT and GRC for the link which I provided you in the chat, the website link, you can check out that and you can reach out to us for more details.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Perfect, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Yeah, Pankaj, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, actually, just I want to ask one thing. Like, how much differ CISA from GRC?
How much? Sorry.
Like difference between GRC and CISA, like both are same and
Again,
difference on
no,
the.
no, CISA is a certification, Pankaj. This is one
Yeah,
certification offered by an ISACA, correct?
yeah,
And
correct.
when you are doing a CISA, you will get lot of understanding about GRC concept. Like
Yeah.
almost, all the domains, the common domains are pretty much covered in your CISA training.
Okay, got it.
Hi Sachin.
Yeah, Mahesh.
Good
Hi.
evening, Mahesh.
Good
How are
evening.
you?
How are you? All good, Mahesh.
I
All good.
attended your information technology audit for hands-on practical with
Oh,
InfoSec.
yeah, yeah.
You remember, I think.
Correct, correct,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for your ISO 27001 with InfoSec. When it is going to be?
Mahesh, again, the for that the dates are not yet announced because
You
we are
mentioned
occupied till
about
June.
with March.
But
Yes.
again, there are some other batches we have planned, so we are unable to do that ISO. But
No,
whenever we do,
regarding
we'll
your
definitely
IT and GRC audit,
uh,
that it covers the governance, risk and control management, and as
yes,
well
yes,
as information technology audit, both.
yes, it will cover both. Cover both.
Okay, okay. So I am looking for an opportunities in IT audits. I told you I send you information.
Yeah, correct. So in community
Because of
also we
age,
are.
you said nothing is no problem. You will consider, but I am not getting any response. I have a part of WhatsApp group, your WhatsApp group
Ah,
also. That's why I'm
correct.
attending all your webinars. I'll
Correct.
continue to do that.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You are basically
Sometime.
based in Mumbai, huh?
Yeah, Manish.
So I'm sending again my CV.
Uh-huh.
Will you possible to do something?
Yeah, definitely, Mahesh. I'm trying,
I was, I'm
wherever
against
it
started
is.
from Chennai. I
Yeah,
am
correct.
CA visa with 20 visa, but I was doing mostly on financial side, financial audits. I
Correct,
wanted to get
correct,
into this line, IT audits line.
correct. We'll definitely try, Mahesh, wherever possible.
Okay.
We'll refer your
Thank
CV.
you. I will.
Yeah, Sachin, I have one question. Sorry for that
Please.
ask.
No, no.
Multiple questions. Is
Yeah,
there
no
any
problem.
placement assistance from your side?
Sorry, Sampath, come again.
Any placement assistance or any
We are doing that, Sampath, for everyone. Like we have created one community where we are frequently sharing the updates about the job openings, about the freelancing assignment, about and whatever like regular updates. So we are creating that community for helping everyone. If you're not a part of that community, just reach out to me on a LinkedIn. I'll share you the link. Okay. So you can join that community.
Sure.
Yeah. Perfect,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you so much for your time. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sachin. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sachin. Thank you. Bye.